Hello guys, it's Teenage Marvel Fan back with another video, and in this video I'm coming at you with a Captain Marvel 2 possible plot leak. So this is coming from a quite reliable source, been very reliable as of late, and that's Cosmic Book News. But as I said, this is just a plot leak, and it is basically just a big old rumor, so do just take it with a pinch of salt. Grain of salt, I don't know which one it is, but whatever. So don't believe it. It could be true, could not be true, but in case it is true, just a quick spoiler warning in case any of this is right, and I'll ruin this movie for you, so that would kind of suck. But this plot leak starts off by saying that Captain Marvel 2 is rumored to be a cosmic horror, which would involve Carol Danvers forming the AForce and working as an agent of SWORD. So that's something we kind of figured would happen. It's going to be good to be seeing the AForce in the MCU. Really looking forward to that. But now let's get into the details of this. So first of all, it said that Marvel Studios has had multiple meetings with female directors to direct the movie, because the first movie was co-directed by, I think they were like a husband and wife, but anyway, they didn't really do a good job at directing the movie, so that's why they want to get a new director, and they want to stick with a female director because, you know, female directors would probably know more about what to do with a female character. I mean, it kind of just makes sense. And while a release date still hasn't been revealed for this, much like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we've known about for a while, well, actually, since the second movie came out, but we don't know when it's coming out. But this movie, it's said that Captain Marvel 2 will be released in 2022, or at least that's their goal. So that would be one of the first movies of Phase 5. So this movie would probably like jumpstart Phase 5, much like Black Widow is doing for Phase 4. But other details on this movie include that SWORD is the central focus of the movie, and that of course Samuel L. Jackson and Kobe Smulders are returning to reprise their respective roles of Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Also, Ben Mendelsohn and Jude Law are also returning as Talos and Yon-Rogg. So that makes sense, of course, as well. Especially since Yon-Rogg didn't die in the first movie, he was just sent back to the Kree home planet. Now, this is where things get interesting. So, the plot of the film is said to be dealing with Brie Larson back as Carol Danvers, of course, and she's now an official agent of SWORD because this movie does take place in present time after Avengers Endgame. And SWORD stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. And this is where Carol Danvers will assemble the AForce to fight against a massive cosmic threat. And so it's cool enough to know that we're getting the AForce in the movie, but this plot leak also includes the members of the AForce, and that's pretty sweet too. So it's claimed that the AForce members in Captain Marvel 2 includes Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Spider-Woman, Scarlet Witch, Mighty Thor, Valkyrie, and Spectrum. So a lot of those are characters that are either already in the MCU or we know are coming very soon. But there's also a few that we don't know about yet. So let's just break down each member here. So first of all, Ms. Marvel. Makes sense. She's getting her own Disney Plus series. Plus, Ms. Marvel, her hero is Captain Marvel, so it makes sense that she's in the Captain Marvel movie. So I didn't think that she would be in the AForce, because I would have thought maybe she'd be in like the Young Avengers or maybe just the regular Avengers, because that's where she usually is, but AForce makes sense as well. She-Hulk, of course that makes sense. She's one of the original like core members of the AForce in the comics, and she's getting her own Disney Plus series, and she's probably the character in this lineup that I'm most looking forward to being on this team. But then Spider-Woman. So I've made a couple videos about this. because Sony is making a new Spider-Man Marvel spin-off movie that's coming out on October 8th next year, and the big rumor is that that's a Spider-Woman movie. But I made a video about how Kevin Feige is actually thinking about trying to reach an agreement with Sony so that he can co-produce that movie and make it technically part of the MCU. So if that happens, then Spider-Woman would be part of the MCU, and this is a great way to bring her into the greater MCU and have her team up with all these other characters in the AForce. So I think that's a great idea. And if you want to know more details about the Spider-Woman movie and Kevin Feige getting involved in that, I will leave the video link in the description below so you can go check that out. Scarlet Witch, she's probably the most obvious team member here, other than, of course, Captain Marvel, because she's also getting a Disney Plus series with WandaVision, and will also be featured in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So Wanda's clearly going to have a big part in the MCU going forward. Next up is Mighty Thor. Makes sense, because Natalie Portman is confirmed as female Thor for Thor Love and Thunder, but we're not going to call her female Thor, because that's just weird. I mean, she's just the Mighty Thor. But of course it makes sense for her to be here, because she's like the new Thor, and she's female. So, Valkyrie makes sense for her as well, because she's the Queen of Asgard, she's a superhero, and, why not? Spectrum, when I first read this, I didn't know who she was, but then I remembered that Spectrum is actually Monica Rambeau, who we saw in the first Captain Marvel movie. She was Maria Rambeau's daughter, and now we know that she is appearing in WandaVision as an agent of S.W.O.R.D., so that's going to tie into this movie. Maybe it will involve her getting her powers, and in this movie, she will become Spectrum and be a member of the AForce. So I think this is a really good lineup for the AForce. The only thing is there are some members here that I would have liked to see that we're not getting here, like maybe the Wasp, Shuri, other characters like that. Although at the same time I do understand why, because the AForce is teaming up in space, and why would those characters be in space? Plus all these other ones could probably survive in space, except like some of them, like maybe She-Hulk, Spider-Woman, Scarlet Witch, doesn't really make sense for them to be in space, but I mean they could probably survive out there, maybe, I don't know. But that's it for the AForce part of this. But the rumor in this plot leak offers that a Secret Invasion Disney Plus series is also being developed and will tie directly into Captain Marvel 2. And I also made a video about that, so once again, link in the description below so you can go check that out and find out more details about that, as well as the other Secret Disney Plus Marvel series that is coming. But it said that the Secret Invasion series will explore a group of Skrull refugees hiding out on Earth who are being pursued by a squadron of Kree sleeper cells led by Yon-Rogg and the rest of the remaining members of the Star Force. So that means, Bronchar and Atlas, Korath, of course. Well, actually, Korath is technically... Yeah, Korath died in Guardians. So, yeah, and Minerva died in the first movie, but she could always come back, I guess. But the thing that makes this series even more interesting is that apparently the main character will be Hulkling, who, if you don't know, is a Kree-Skrull hybrid, and now he's taken on the identity of Teddy Altman, a normal high school student. And Hulkling will also apparently have a cameo in WandaVision, and will, of course, be a major character in Captain Marvel 2, and I assume in the MCU going forward, because he's a big part of the Young Avengers, which, of course, we know is being set up in the MCU with Stature and Ant-Man. Kate Bishop is coming in Hawkeye, maybe Kid Loki in Loki. Of of course, Wiccan and Speed in WandaVision, and that would be the reason that he would cameo in WandaVision, because in the comics, Wiccan and Hulkling have a relationship, so that's maybe why he cameos there. But then, like I mentioned before, the leaker claimed that this is going to be like a cosmic horror. And apparently Captain Marvel 2 writer Megan McDonnell, who's also the writer on WandaVision, has pitched the sequel as heavily inspired by Aliens and a space odyssey, and almost a cosmic horror movie. But then the leaker goes on to say that the film will deal with the sword base being compromised by a rare alien threat, and that threat is the Brood. So if you don't know who the Brood is, they are basically, these things, these aliens, and they are laying eggs on the sword base and possessing agents. But the reason that the AForce is coming into this, the AForce, is, and it's basically the Avengers, but only the female members, is because only male operatives can get compromised. So that's why the AForce is formed, because female heroes can't be taken over by the Brood. And so they have, all the female heroes have now come together to stop the Brood, and but it turns out that the species are operating as parasites and have been secretly conquering planets in the universe in order to kill them. In order to kill the Brood, they must kill the Empress Brood, which means going to their home planet. So basically, this movie is going to take place 95% in space, and the AForce is going to have to